What's up, Explorers, and welcome to the Explore Kansas City podcast. Today I have Joe Pearce, the owner of Slaps BBQ in Kansas City, Kansas. If you haven't had Slaps, you are missing out. By far, one of the top places in Kansas City for barbecue. Thank you, Joe, for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me, Ryan. Glad to be here.
Yeah, hey, if you just want to introduce yourself, kind of tell us about where you're from, and then maybe where the start of the love of barbecue came for you.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm born, bred, and barbecue fed here in Kansas City. Grew up eating all the classics, Gates, Arthur Bryant's, Joe's, and we really had a love for being outside and cooking outside and camping and hiking and kind of stuff growing up. So, my passion and love for barbecue started at a young age when we would be out at a campfire and we'd have to figure out how to cook a meal over open flame. And my dad was kind of a genius when it came to cooking stuff, and we'd go camping on a birthday and he'd bake a cake at a campfire. And so that kind of stuff always intrigued me and kind of grew into this obsession of cooking barbecue as I got older into my adult life. And we started cooking barbecue competitions back in 2013, and now we have a restaurant that's been around for 6 years almost, and we're struggling just like everybody else is right now, but having a good time. So
yeah. Well, since you brought up the struggling, it's April 2020 if people are listening in the future. So the COVID-19 pandemic is going on. Let's go ahead and cover that. I was going to hold that for the end, but let's go ahead and talk about that real quick. What are you doing as a restaurant owner? I feel like you guys, you have it hard, if not harder than everyone right now. So what's going on with you in the business?
Yeah, so we obviously have been impacted like every restaurant and bar and non-essential establishment has in the United States. We have really gone down to about 40-50% of our average revenue on a daily basis, some days less. And that caused us to have to kind of redo our staff and furlough a couple people, lay off a couple people. We kind of kept what I would call our managers and our key hourlies, people that we know could do any position in the restaurant if they had to. Did what we could. My brother and I stopped taking paychecks for since really about the 17th of March. I think that was the last week we took a paycheck, and not necessarily something you love to do, you know what I mean? But I'd rather pay my employees and myself live a little
more humble.
Yeah, exactly. And then put somebody without. We have our culture and the employees we have at Slaps BBQ are very loyal, and we're not your typical restaurant. We don't have a high turnover rate. I think the shortest we just hired a girl maybe 3 or 4 months prior to us having to lay people off. But I mean, everybody's been there for years, 2-3 years. And so we have just a really tight knit community of employees that love being there and love to work. And, it breaks our hearts when we have to lay them off in these situations, but this is, unprecedented, and this has never happened in my life. And so
you got to adapt. It's important to adapt to the times.
So that's all we're doing. We switched from, we never used to take the same day orders, and now all we take is same day orders. Being able to transition on the fly and be able to take online orders, call-in orders, curbside orders, whatever that is, on the fly and execute at a high level was really important to us. And so we still let people come in and order. You only let about 4 or 5 people in the restaurant at a time.
Right.
They're all spaced out 6 feet. Once they order, they get moved out to a patio where there's more space, and then we bring the order to them. So it's not ideal for the way we run our business, but we're adapting. Like you said, we're doing what we have to do, and it's been a trying time, but at the same time, we're seeing new things that we can learn from and do on the backside of this COVID issue. And figure out maybe there's some more ways to make revenue in the long term after we get past all this.
There you go. Yeah, and that was what I was going to ask you next is what are you guys doing because we keep preaching, hey, support local, let's keep these businesses going. So you're doing curbside pickup and to-go orders. Are you doing any specials or anything like that?
So we cut back quite a bit on our specials, our daily specials at least. We still have tacos on Tuesday, wings on Wednesday. Nice. Yeah. It's hard for us to figure out how many burgers to cook, how much chicken to cook for our spicy fried chicken sandwich. Just try to cut back to kind of our core items. The big thing that we're still doing, and this is the hard part about how we're operating, is that we're still cooking fresh every day. So it's as random as it could be how busy we could be one day. And so we're trying not to have, old briskets sitting around or old pork butts sitting around. Everything that we cook the same day, we want to sell that day. So we're trying to keep food as fresh as possible. And we're doing a pretty good job with it. There's, we'll have a whole pork butt left over at the end of the night, but those reheat awesome. They're amazing. I think they're actually better day 2 than they are the first day. But
I've heard that before. I've heard that you should vacuum seal pork butt, put it in the freezer, and it's better when you reheat it.
Yeah, absolutely. It gets more tender and all those juices just stay in there, and they make it super flavorful. It's good. I wouldn't do it for a long period of time, but if you cook something the day before and then sealed it up and then reheated it the next day, you're probably okay. But we don't want to bite the bullet and have a bunch of leftover because we just don't know if we're going to be able to sell it the next day. So we're trying to stay fresh every day, and managing our online order taking process is a full-time job, making sure that we turn things off as we sell out and don't want to take off too many customers that want to order ribs and we're out.
Right.
We have found out no matter how many ribs we cook, we're still going to sell out of them. People love those things, burn-ins too. Yeah. And so, we're trying to keep as many of our core values as possible, which is fresh food every day, authentic Kansas City style barbecue that's not reheated or reused in any way, shape, or form. And so we're doing a really good job with that. It's a little tougher right now just because we don't have the numbers to support the type of volume we think we're going to do. And it's an everyday process of how much food to cook, how much food not to cook. And, it's never fun because suppliers start backing off how much food they're bringing in. And then next thing you know, they're out of our normal ribs or our normal potato that we use for our potatoes. And, it's all that kind of stuff that is a daily struggle. But, I would tell you we're probably doing better than some restaurants, and I'm sure there's other restaurants doing better than we are, but we are very blessed to keep the doors open, keep the lights on, and keep as many people employed as possible. And we just got the PPP funding, and we're bringing back 7 or 8 people on Friday, starting tomorrow.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so we're bringing back some of those core guys to just kind of fill positions and give other guys breaks. I mean, we've been pushing our staff, and my brother and I have been pushing really hard. Not sure if I've had a day off since about the middle of March, which is okay. It's part of the business, and I love to do it. And never been afraid of the work. But an employee that comes in making $15-$16 an hour grinds on you. It's getting some other staff back in there to kind of help alleviate some of that what's going on is an awesome opportunity and kind of a once in a lifetime thing. We're never going to see this again. So.
Right. Yeah, definitely. So that's great that you guys are coming back and get some people back in there. But if you don't mind, I'd like to go to before all this stuff was going on, when it was normal operations. Actually, let's go back. You and your brother are doing competitions.
Yeah.
And in Kansas City, competitions are everywhere, and there's guys just like you back then that are like, I want a restaurant.
Yeah.
When did it become like we can make this work? The realization of we can have a brick and mortar store and be pumping out barbecue every day, 7 days a week.
Yeah. How we knew we were going to be successful was kind of lucky. We did not plan to be this successful. When we first started, we were actually filming the TV show Barbecue Pitmasters, and got got pretty far on that show. We finished second out of 18 teams, and had a blast doing it. And as we filmed that finale, we flew back to Kansas City, and that's the day we found the building that we're in. We put an offer in on it, and the guy accepted it the same day, basically. And I quit my job the day after that, and I was on the ground April 1st in 2014. Working, cleaning up. And so originally we were going to just open a food truck and a catering service. So we didn't even plan on opening a brick and mortar. We were just going to use that facility to cook the food and then go out and cater and food truck it. And the response we got from KCK saying, "Hey, what are you guys doing here? What's going on? I can't believe, are you guys opening a barbecue restaurant?" And it was nonstop every day, just people knocking on the door asking, what was going on. And so by the time we were ready to open, the finale was actually airing on TV. And so we timed it that we did a soft launch on the same day that the finale of the TV show Barbecue Pitmasters aired. And we opened for as long as we could. I think we opened at it was like a soft open at 3:00 in the afternoon. I think we sold out by 5. It was just 2 hours flinging barbecue. And then we went to a wash party at about 6 or 7 and hung out, had a good time, and ended up losing. Everybody was sad, but we announced then that starting, that was a Saturday night, starting Monday, we were open for business every day. And so we opened that Monday at 11 o'clock. We sold out in about 2 hours again. We started cooking more food and more food and more food, and hired more staff, brought more people in. And, now it's the small monster that it is today. We're pre-COVID numbers. We were, selling about 1,000 to 1,500 pounds of food on a weekday, about 2,000 pounds of food on a weekend, 200 to 300 slabs on a Friday and Saturday, just flying through food, man. And, we're starting to see some of that pick back up. We're starting to see people get a little restless here and not wanting to cook at home. So they're coming out and enjoying some small business, local businesses, and supporting them. And we appreciate it a ton. It's, kept the lights on and whatnot, but so that's kind of how we started. We started just cooking small batch barbecue every day, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and tired of disappointing the masses of running out of food. So we started cooking more and got different smokers and bigger smokers. And next thing you know, we're on the regular list of some of the best barbecue in Kansas City. And it's such an honor to be even named among the Joes and Gates and Arthur Bryants and Jack Stacks and LCs and all those guys. So
yeah, no, and you guys definitely are. Every time I have a conversation of, hey, what do you think the best barbecue in Kansas City is? And I'm like, Jack Stack has great sides, and a lot of those places put out great product. But I'm like, if I have my choice, I'm right now I'm going to Slaps.
I appreciate that.
So
yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that's awesome. And you guys are still actively doing competitions, aren't you? Over 25 a year still?
Yeah. So last year I did 36.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. This year I should have, this coming weekend would have been like contest 7 and 8 already. I've only been able to cook one this year. Prior
2020 shot. We can't talk about 2020.
No, but so hopefully the second half of the year we'll be able to get out there and cook a little bit. It's weird. It's weird not. So last year, every day of the week was filled with something barbecue related. Whether it was for the restaurant or competition, during the day I'd be at the restaurant, in the evening I'd be prepping for a contest. And so now when I get off work, it's, mowing the yard and cleaning the barn and,
right.
Doing normal human things,
right.
and not just cooking competition barbecue. So it's slowed down in this aspect that I'm not constantly on the road, but I told my brother, Mike, the other owner, the other day, I said, for the last 4 weeks, I feel like we're working twice as hard to make us half as much money. And that's accurate. We're physically having to be in the restaurant and support and, play a role in making sure that we operate the same way we've always operated. And, we've gotten progressively, I say, busier over the last 4 weeks. And it's encouraging to see that we're still doing what we need to do. And, I hope people are taking this seriously and staying home and being cautious. But at the same time, I want them to come out and eat barbecue so I can keep the lights on and keep serving Kansas City some of the best barbecue in the city.
Yeah. Hey, so where do you guys see we're past this COVID stuff. We're back to the norm. What's the big picture for Slaps BBQ? Are you going to be on every corner, or are you just going to keep that one location? What's the plan?
We're feel guys. We have to have that gut feeling that this is the right move. And it's pretty ironic that we've had so many opportunities to open a second, even a third location in the Kansas City metropolitan area. And at the end of the day, my brother and I's gut just hasn't felt right about a part of that process. And, so I would say it's a good thing and a bad thing. I think big picture for Slaps is total world domination. I mean, that's what I usually tell people. I want them everywhere.
Yes,
but
so do I.
I know how much how much work this one has taken. And it's still not perfect. You know what I mean? I don't know if it ever will be perfect. So we are constantly refining the process of what makes Slaps and how it runs and how it operates, who's in charge, who does what, the policies and procedures, the training, and getting everybody organized so that can happen. We are closer to being able to pick up Slaps and plant it somewhere else today than we've ever been. And so I think, long-term goal, we'll probably have another one that my gut says we will. I don't know if we'll have more than that though. You know what I mean? I don't know if we're in this business to have 30 of these guys all over the country. I don't know if we're there yet. We've talked to a lot of friends that have franchises or in the process of franchising and have multiple locations, and they all tell us the same thing. Hey, if I could go back and do it again, I'd never do it. You know what I mean? Or I'd never open another one on my own. I'd just franchise them. So we get these mixed responses of, hey, what do you think we should do next? And some people say, hey, go out and get a ton of them. And other guys say, hey, keep this one. For us, we really don't know what the Slaps location in KCK is ever going to settle into. We keep increasing revenue every year when there's not a pandemic. And, so last year we were up just over 40% from the year before.
Right.
This year was pacing about 44% up from last year, prior to everything hitting the fan. So we don't know what this place is going to settle into. We've been blessed to make plenty of money here at Slaps BBQ, and we don't know what the ceiling is at this location. I think we've about capped all this possible space we have with the patio and the rooftop deck, and really excited to get all those back open to the public soon.
Especially with the summer coming, you guys got a sweet setup. So.
Exactly. And so, we're trying to capitalize on all the revenue. Like even last year, probably up until about June or July of last year, we were still turning away probably 30 to 40% of our catering because it was people asking for stuff the same day. Mm-hmm. So we're just not built like that. We cook fresh every day. We take orders in advance. Right. We make sure we have enough food so we don't run out. And we don't have to reheat anything. Everything's fresh off the smoker. And then what we started doing second half of the year is not turning any of those away. And so we just kind of bit the bullet, knew we were going to have to cook more food throughout the day, have a little more to start, risk it. And it started working out pretty well that we weren't turning orders away. So really 2020 was where we were going to start taking online orders, start doing DoorDash, start never turning away a catering order. And come to find out that's actually happening, just not in the same time frame that we thought it was going to happen.
Right.
So, and it was, a blessing that we spent the second half of 2019 getting ready to implement some of this stuff, because of now what has happened, we were able to make that transition pretty smooth and be able to handle those types of orders very quickly. So, to circle back to your question long-term, I think we'll have another Slap somewhere in the Kansas City metropolitan area at some point, probably in the next 5 to 7 years. I think the restaurant industry is taking a pretty big hit right now. And some places are not going to recover. That's super
Which is
unfortunate.
sad. It's super sad because
Yeah,
it's not their
super
fault.
sad. Yep. And it's going to be a different scene come the second half or the fourth quarter of this year when everything's back up and rolling again. And interested to see what that looks like and see kind of how Slaps can be a part of it and go from there.
Definitely. So one more question before we get into the final four, the last four that we ask everybody. How many competitions do you think you've done in your lifetime? Probably well over a couple hundred.
193.
Okay, 193.
Yeah,
for
I keep track.
For those guys out there that are struggling to get in that top 3 finish,
yep.
This might be too broad. What's one tip that, they keep getting, top 10, but they can't get in top 5? What's one tip to give them that little edge to make better barbecue?
Yeah, I think it's all about tenderness.
That's
you have to
fall short.
Yeah, I think you have to nail tenderness in every category. Flavor you can adapt, right? If something's too spicy, you can add some sweet to it. If it's too sweet, you can add some pepper to it. If it's too savory, all those kinds of things that can be doctored. What you cannot doctor in 5 minutes before you have to turn in a slab of ribs or chicken or pork or brisket is its tenderness, right? So you have to nail tenderness when it comes off the smoker every single time, and give yourself plenty of time to make an adjustment if you need to. I start cooking at 4:15 in the morning. Brisket comes off at 9:30. I technically have 4.5 hours, 5 hours before I have to turn that brisket in. So if something did happen, I have plenty of time to make up for it. It's the rookie mistakes, and the mistakes I see a lot in competition barbecue are guys that wait till the last minute to turn something in, and the next thing you know, their brisket's not the right tenderness. And they did great on chicken, ribs, and pork, but that brisket's, the tenderness isn't quite right, and that's going to ding them from winning a competition. And I can't tell you how many times that I've cooked really good chicken, pork, and brisket, and then ribs have left me out, or vice versa. It doesn't matter what category it is. I've called myself the 3-category wonder, where I can finish top 3 in 3 categories, and then next to last in the 4th, and take you out of a barbecue competition real fast. Right. But I think tenderness, if anything, is practice, and tenderness changes throughout the year in Kansas City Barbecue Society, what the judges look for. I think in the first half of the year, you have to be really spot on to what they teach tenderness should be. For ribs, for example, you got to be able to take a bite of ribs. You should see the bone dry. You should see your teeth marks. There should be a little pull to it and shouldn't be mushy. As you go through the year, you start seeing that change a little bit, and they want a rib that has a little less texture, that's a little softer, it pulls from the bone a little easier. So, and that just takes a lot of time cooking barbecue day in and day out. And cooking barbecue competitions to know kind of what those desires and those wants are from judges. I try to get feedback from judges constantly throughout the year. If I'll see one on a Friday night at a barbecue contest, and I'll say, hey, what are you guys looking for in chicken? You know what I mean? Or is it still being mushy? Or sorry, I had a phone call come in there, but if it's still being mushy, or, kind of what's going on with it. And so they'll tell us, and they'll let us know, and they'll move on. So.
Cool. Yeah. Tenderness. And then you told me when we did a video at your restaurant, every piece of meat's different. The one you cooked last Sunday is not the same. So that's why, like you were saying, give yourself time to make those adjustments, because what'd you say? Each pig is different. Each cow is different.
Yeah, absolutely. Every cow is different. It has everything to do with when it was slaughtered, how it was slaughtered, how it was cooled down, how it's been vacuum sealed, how long it's been vacuum sealed. There's, what kind of grass it ate, what kind of grain it ate, where it came from in the country. All those things factor into how a piece of meat is good or bad. And, if you don't cook every weekend, if you don't cook tons of briskets, I've made the statement a couple times, and I don't know if it's actually true, that I've cooked 100,000 briskets in my life. Probably an exaggeration, but it's a lot. You know,
Right.
it's probably over 30 or 40,000 briskets since we've opened Slaps. But when you see that many of them, it kind of becomes second nature about, you know, the brisket. If it's super red, that means it was stressed out when it was slaughtered and their heart was pumping a lot, and the meat's going to be a real dark, deep red, and it's probably going to tend to a little tougher meat than it would if it was a nice light pink color. So it's all those types of things that come into play when you're talking about competition barbecue. You got to think about them. You know, you got to think about barometric pressure and elevation and all different kinds of stuff, man. And guys going out and doing that once or twice a year makes it really hard to be consistent, because you're not paying attention to all those little details like myself or another top 10 cook in the country would do, because it makes a difference whether I'm cooking in Denver or Kansas City or Arkansas or, you know, New Orleans. I mean, elevation changes a lot, barometric pressure changes a lot, humidity changes a lot. You know, there's just a lot of stuff that goes on there that you got to watch if you want to be absolutely consistent every single time.
Right. Yeah, that's a great tip. So practice and leave yourself time for tenderness, like for adjustments. It's great. Okay, so hey, our last four, just whatever comes to mind. I know you didn't get these beforehand. So
okay.
So number one, what's your favorite place to either eat or hang out in Kansas City that's not your own place?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It doesn't have to be barbecue. It can be anything.
Yeah, so many good friends. So I'll give you two.
That's fine.
And they're both kind of close to each other. El Lizarone for pizza.
Okay.
Down in City Market, and I'm going to go also in the City Market, the Pig Witch. Two great spots. Yep.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. And then what's a place you want to explore that you haven't yet? Something either new or just old you never got to?
Food-wise?
Food. It could be a place to hang out. Like if you've never been to a baseball game, which I'm sure you have, but.
Yeah, no. I'm really interested in all those food parlors I got going on right now. I really like that concept of being able to go in and try something different every time you go there, and maybe getting one thing from one spot and another thing from another. And they all have pretty good bars from what I hear. So I haven't been able to go down there and hang out at a bunch of them a lot, but that's something I would like to do when everything opens back up.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. And then on more of a personal side, we're not smoking barbecue, either in a competition or Slaps. What are some other hobbies that you do? I know you got a little, so that's one hobby.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just bought a house with 15 acres. So it seems like my hobby right now is mowing. That's pretty much all I do when I get home and I have a free time and it's not been raining. But you know, I used to play a lot of golf, played in high school and played in college. And so I do like to go play golf. I like to hunt. I like to shoot things, you know, all that fun stuff.
All that Midwestern Missouri stuff.
Yeah. You know, living that farm life, I guess.
There you go. Cool, man. Hey, and then the last one's all about you. Where can we find you? Where can we follow you? And then is there anything else you wanted to plug here at the end?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, follow us on Facebook at Slaps BBQ, Instagram at Slaps BBQ, KC, I believe, slapsbarbecuekc.com. Big thing is if you're looking at eating barbecue, you'll place an order online. You can go to our website. It's really simple. You can pick what time you want to pick it up. You can place it in advance for the next day or a week from now. It doesn't matter. Just let us know what you want. We'll get you taken care of. And appreciate everybody that's come out, and look forward to seeing all the customers come in, and hopefully we'll be back to normal pretty soon.
Great. Hey, thanks, Joe. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to hang out with us and record this podcast. So we really appreciate it. Joe Pearce, everybody, be sure to go to Slaps. Like you said, get online and order you some barbecue.
Yep. Thanks, Ryan. Have a good one.
Yep.